Welcome back to the Clemson Insider as we continue our Clemson Finest series. We're at part 3 with Clemson head football coach's wife, Dabo Swinney's wife, Kathleen Swinney. Sorry, almost called you Dabo. But Kathleen, thanks again for being with us. And in this series, or this part of the series, we want to talk about the early years at Clemson. And one of my favorite stories with that is when you guys first came to Clemson. You were building a house there in Alabama, I believe, and so you guys were kind of just starting to say, okay, we're going to do this, and this is what we're going to do with our life.
Yeah.
And then this opportunity comes up, and you know how much you wanted to coach.
Yeah.
Take me to that story when he came and got you after he just saw Clemson and met with Coach Bowden.
Yeah, it was that was in February of 2003, and he, he called me from Clemson. You know, he's like, of course, he's told the story where he gets to the airport, like the first road he sees is Pelham Road, and then I think sweet Coach Brad Scott had picked him up and took him to eat at Calhoun Corners, and he was just could not wait to get back to the hotel and call me and just tell me, he's like, you're just gonna love this place. We were just really both hoping and praying that Coach Bowden would offer him the job. And so, sure enough, he did. And I think maybe about 5 days later, he and I drove up to Clemson. And we had never, I had never been before. And it was a really exciting, a little bit scary time because we had a 3- and 4-year-old, and I was pregnant with Clay, and we were building a house in Birmingham. So, it was just a big change all of a sudden. But I was so happy because he had been, although, so successful in his other career for that short 18 months that he was in the real estate business, he just was not, fulfilled like I knew how much I knew he loved to coach, and that was just a constant, something in the back of his mind and a constant prayer of ours. And, we've been at Alabama, and it's just, we enjoyed living in this southern area, and anyway, but he just wasn't really fulfilled. So when Coach Bowden called him, we just knew. We were like, okay, this is what we're supposed to do.
Right.
And so it was exciting. We came to Clemson, and it was amazing. It's grown so much, but it has just been an absolute just dream. It's just such an amazing place. I love it so much, and I'm so blessed. We feel so blessed to be able to raise our children here. I just thank God all the time. It's just amazing. Y'all know.
Yeah, I love it. And I know you guys do. You fell in love with it. And so Dabo said he immediately fell in love with it. You're the same way? Like when he brought you, you're like, okay, I know Dabo likes it. So what was your thinking as you're driving in to South Carolina and into Clemson? What were you thinking, what was it going to be like? Is it really as great as he says it is?
Yeah. Immediately, people-wise, everyone was just so wonderful. Coach Bowden and Linda, just such lovely, amazing people. Everyone was very welcoming, and it just was similar to where we lived in Alabama. It was just the same type of warm Southern hospitality. It was a little hard on me at first, I think, because now it's such a blessing. It's such a much bigger staff, and I think we have, maybe 50 children under the age of 12. They're so, you have an instant family. Now, back then in 2003, there were no other small children at all on the staff. The only two were Michael and Ben Batson.
Right.
That was it. Everyone else had older children, either in high school or college. So it was a tad, lonely at first because I had these little boys and I didn't know anybody. And so, but that soon changed. And now it's just, it's just amazing. We just have dear, friends for life, and it's just such a wonderful community. It's amazing.
So, you had 2003, which was kind of a, for a while there, y'all thought, oh my goodness, because that you had the turnaround at the end of the season. But was it all? And you've talked about this. Was it all concerning for you halfway through that season, that first year? That you guys like, man, we might not be here next year. Because you were 5-4 and.
A little bit. People, of course, had said, oh, I don't know if that's a good job to take, But when you just know you're supposed to go and you have that faith that, no, this is where we're supposed to be.
Right.
It just puts you at a lot more peace. And, we were a little concerned, but it's just kind of part of the coaching profession. And we're like, whatever happens, we'll be fine. I mean, you just can't stress out every day about it. We knew that's where we were supposed to be. And then, sure enough, it turned around. Coach Bowden was ACC Coach of the Year. It ended up being okay. But, yeah, it was a little, at first we're like, whoa, this isn't going well. But, again, we both just are pretty grounded and had peace. And you really just can't live life stressing every day. And especially, as any coach's wife will tell you, you just have to literally just bloom where you're planted and, take care of your kids and just enjoy them. I mean, none of us really know what tomorrow holds. So we just made the most of it, enjoyed each day, and couldn't really worry too much about it.
Now, fast forward 5 years to 2008, and you get the phone call from Coach Swinney. He tells you what's happened, that Coach Bowden's been let go, and or they parted ways, I should say. He's been named interim by Coach Phillips, and then I know you had a conversation with Dabo, but you also had a conversation, and if you want to talk about it, that'd be great. If not, that's fine too. With Linda Bowden, and she talked to you, because you were so scared. Can you tell me about it? Because we've heard Dabo's side, but your side on the other end of that phone call, and then leaning on Miss Bowden to kind of help you get through some things.
Yeah, she, yes, we've talked about when Dabo called me, and then I just, of course, I mean, your first reaction is going to be, you're just shocked, you're upset, but then you feel so bad, because I knew what that meant for Tommy and Linda, and they had been so amazing to us, and sweet friends to us, and my heart was just broken for them, because again, any coach's wife knows, you hear somebody say something negative about your husband when they're just trying to do the best they can. It's very painful, and so I just was just crying and so distraught for her, and I knew that I needed to call her, and so I just called her, and I thought, well, if she's not up to talking to anyone, she won't answer. But anyway, she answered, and it was that day, maybe an hour or so later, and I called to try to cheer her up. I didn't really know what I was going to say, but anyway, she was so great and so gracious and happy for us, and I knew that she was hurting because her husband was hurting, and it was just a hurtful situation, but she just was like, you know what, it's somewhat of a relief, and this is going to be great for y'all, and she just ended up cheering me up, and I just will always be grateful to her for that. She just is such a lovely, sweet person, and she was just a great example, of how to treat people.
Right, and not that you needed it, but it kind of did help you a lot way in your relationship with the other coaches' wives and stuff, right?
Absolutely, yes. And the Bowdens were always about family, and they were so sweet. Even though their children were older, they'd always let our kids come up there and run around, and so we're very grateful. They're such a great family.
Now you had the 2010 real fast. We'll talk about it. You were there when Coach Phillips was in the office, and you told Dabo as he's coming in that story where Dabo's going down the hall, and you said, Terry Don's in there. Tell that story real fast.
I did, yes. Well, and again, Terry Don is just so sweet. He and Trish, we love them, and he, it was a really, bad year or struggling year. I mean, it had some good points, but anyway, after that game, he was in Dabo's office, and so, I just went to talk to Dabo about it, and as Dabo said, he really felt like, oh, he's gonna, just maybe let him go. We really didn't know, but as Dabo said, he was the complete opposite, and just so supportive, and and I think we were all crying. It was just really good. It was really good, and then, of course, the Belt Bowl was challenging as well, right. And we got lots of mean emails, but it helps you grow. It helps you grow, and with a lot of good, there sometimes comes some bad too, and right. And we realize that fans are passionate, and we don't agree with some of the things they said, and we definitely don't agree when they say mean things about our players who right. we love and support and are trying to do the best they can, but I think we grew a lot from that year, so it's okay.
And as Dabo always would say to us, we're that close, just this close, be patient with me.
Yeah.
Of course, as we all know now, 8 years later,
yes.
We know the rest of the story. But anyway, so that's part 3 with Kathleen Swinney. We got part 4 coming up. Stay tuned to the Clemson Insider. We have all your Clemson coverage.